Hello, everybody. I'm AVP, or your favorite Orville ambassador. Tonight, I'm joined by my fiance, Jack, our friends Jess and Chloe, and we'll probably be joined by a few others.
Hi.
So, we're going to review Orville season finale, season 3, Future Unknown. So, it's hard to believe we're finishing up this season. Oh my goodness. Oh, it went too quick. Went too quick.
And we need to
It
renew the
does.
Orville.
Indeed. We
Renew
do.
the Orville.
We
Mm.
did the Orville.
So,
Hello.
hey, there we go. Hey, John.
Hey, John.
Hello.
We got a full,
Renew
we got
the
a full house
Orville.
today.
Yes, we are.
Hey, long time no see,
Hey,
guys.
Jedi Ashley, good to see you, girl. So yeah, we want more Orville, please.
Yeah, those 10
Hey,
episodes went
as
by
I
quick.
said on Twitter, though, if this was the end, if this was truly the end, it was a damn good ending.
Yes,
Yes.
I agree. It didn't have
Even my
I
to.
mother
what-
said it was, yes. My
They
own mother
didn't
said
have
it was a perfect ending.
They didn't have to compete with like the Trek stuff. You know, they didn't have to. They didn't have to like outdo their last season finale. They didn't have to outdo their last episode. Instead, they just focused on something calmer instead of like the galactic threat every freaking time. You know what I mean? So I love that. And it was mainly just about Isaac and Claire getting married.
Yes.
You know, that is the key thing. You just nailed it right there. We had the big galactic battle already. We had this was a hopeful. You know, the future's unknown, but instead of leaving you with like a lot of fucking shows do now,
Right.
a fucking cliffhanger, and you don't even know if the damn show's going to get renewed.
Mhm.
They gave you a satisfactory, hey, if this is the end, we gave you as best we could.
And
That's
And
I think
yes,
That's
Jack
it is.
did good.
that was so. I will say this this season of the Orville was actually what I was expecting when way back in 2017 when they announced Discovery. I thought that Discovery was going to be like that, whereas like I thought the Orville was going to be more like Lower Decks is. So like, did I get all that? I got that shit completely wrong. Like,
That's true. But if you stay with Discovery, who knows if you would have met me though too.
if I would have stayed with Discovery, I would have like my IQ would have dropped by like 100 points.
He would probably not be here. He would have lost his mind. He would have
I would have-
blown his brains out everywhere.
I would have
That is not
Got a
recommended.
straitjacket. Drooling and
There's a
Why
reason
would
why
have
the
turned
man
into
drinks
what?
way too much beer.
amen.
Yep, you need the beer.
Amen.
You need the beer to get through it. That's the only
Yeah.
way. Kill the brain
But, you
cells.
know, okay, let's think about this. Let me say this. Okay, remember when back when we were growing up, there was that show that everything was based around, you know, hey, what are you doing Thursday? Family's watching. What are you doing Thursday at 7? Family's watching Star Trek GNG. Now, I don't know if it was on Thursday, but you get my reference.
Right.
Now, we have shows that stream, and it's like you want to watch it as soon as you get the fuck up.
Right.
And Orville is one of those stream. Look, I've seen plenty of streaming episodes. Orville was the last show I watched live all the time.
Right.
And I stayed up late for the season finale, and a lot of people know this, was Sons of Anarchy. I loved that show.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't
that's
been this
fantastic.
dedicated. Yes, it is fantastic. I love the characters. I was fucking pissed when Opie was killed. I was
Ron
fucking
Perlman
pissed
was
when
amazing
certain
in
other
that.
characters. Yes, I was.
That's why
There
Ron
were
Perlman is
characters
the
that-
classic Hellboy, the best.
I
No
would agree with that. I just wish he wasn't a dick in real life. When Juice died,
Nobody's
I was
perfect.
like, when Juice died, I was like, well, at least he went out like a man. He knew what was coming, and he's like, just let me finish this pie. The character layers were so good throughout the entire show, and the way it ended was, in my mind, perfect for the show.
Oh yeah, riding
Orville
off into
is the
sunset.
first show in a long time. Okay, I've watched a lot of TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I really can't remember the name of the goddamn characters. Orville,
Oh yeah.
unlike Discovery, we figured out who all the names of the characters were. Like, boom, right off the bat. That's Claire. That's Isaac. That's Mortis.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we
yeah.
can name them. We couldn't even name the bridge crew.
From Discovery. Yeah, we couldn't even not until like season 2 when they finally like brought in Pike and he was like, let's do a roll call.
Awkward.
Right.
Even then, I couldn't tell you. You had weird cyborg lady. You had lady with 7 of 9 ripoff. You had.
I called her
had to
Left
give
Eye.
them.
I called her Left Eye because it was on her left eye, like Lisa Left Eye Lopez.
But see, with Orville, you know their names, you know their backgrounds, you know, you picked up on it early on. Like, okay, this is a Zelayan, this is a Mocklin, and everything like that. I mean,
Mocklins are all male species, only pee once a year. Zelayans are super strong because of their gravity. They don't like military. Yeah, I mean, like you at least
Some
have
of them
like a
don't
little.
like military,
and apparently have to hunt when they're getting together. Who knew?
Well, maybe
no,
after.
I thought what I enjoy.
You will love me.
One thing
I like that.
One thing I enjoy about the Mocklin culture we've learned is we've made peeing and renewing your vows very. It almost reminds me a little Babylon 5 in some way, in a different way, with some of the other cultures and how they perceive things. And it was kind of like I said when you guys saw my tweet that you liked. I said people compare Bortus to Worf.
Yes,
I compare more to Teal'c from
that's
SG1.
true. I see a lot of Teal'c in him for sure.
Yeah, he's
especially when he's you when he's silent. It reminds me of Teal'c going, "Indeed."
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I wrote
You will be silent
for this episode, and when I was getting to this scene, I was like, I think I'll have my eyes closed for this scene because I did not want to see that scene.
Well, I will say I'm glad they did not include the sexual event at the end of it, Trace.
Yes, even though it wasn't on network, even though it was on Hulu or Disney Plus, yeah. We didn't see that.
I know. I still have my eyes closed. Especially for the very end.
I will say that was a very interesting way to renew your vows. Is just like
we are not doing that. We are not doing that. Hear me? We are not doing that.
I'm going to convince you to do that one day. Anyway.
But look at the aspect of it. Look at the aspect of it. Let's kind of look at the analogy there. They broke up.
Yeah.
Clyden left. So Clyden is the runner, and Bortus is the one trying to chase him back.
Yeah,
it's kind of an analogy, and it works. Just like you had a whole episode about the fact that he was going to pee. Mm-hmm. They made an event out of it. It was and it made sense because like they only do it once a year. They consider a renewal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did like that. Like we learned just a little more about Mocklin culture from that.
Yes.
Mocklins do everything to the extreme. It's kind of ridiculous.
Because they're warrior types, so of course they're going to do something extreme.
There was a moment. I mean, it was played off as comedic, but you know, the moment afterwards,
I said funny too. You might have missed that part, but
okay. Well, but yeah, there's a. Oh shit! What was I gonna?
Sorry.
I think I know what you're gonna say. I think I do. Where he's holding him, right? Where they're just holding each other.
When they're holding each other in silence, right? And then like at first everyone's like, yay, yay, you know, like, and then the music dies down, and then they're just still awkwardly like holding each other.
There,
Gordon is just like, and then they start clapping.
That's the moment. That's the moment where, you know, they're bonding back together again, and they really are probably not really worried about everybody else. This is something that felt for them. So they took longer. I mean, come on,
they were in there. They
it's
had a
like
moment.
the get a room thing.
They
it's like People can see. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
It's the Kevin
It was
Smith
like,
thing.
get a worm.
They shared a moment.
Get a worm, guys.
But I did notice that like Isaac
Like
was
George the
looking
Jungle
on.
can just imagine all the bushes going a wimmo, a wimmo,
The long sleeps tonight.
But you notice that Isaac is looking on with like
Right.
thought. He's thinking, like the gears are
Exactly.
turning while
Like the
he's
gears are
watching
turning.
it.
Exactly. Like.
And
Hmm.
and so the next scene, he's like, walking around like earlier that day, like he had given Claire like a banana and then like helped Lamar with something.
Yes.
The banana thing, didn't that happen in a previous episode too?
Yes,
It
because
did.
Yeah.
he learned that she gets cranky if she doesn't eat potassium
Exactly.
like at a certain time. So
Yeah, that was
he
gonna
had-
have to refrain. Yes.
Yeah, so once they're together again, like he just starts bringing her bananas again.
We
Yes.
need no longer feel the banana, right?
But we need
Exactly.
we need Orville.
we need
Yeah,
the
that is
Orville.
true.
But yeah, so he looks up like bonding rituals, and then like immediately like goes to Claire while she's hanging out with Talea or Tala
Tala.
in the in the mess hall or whatever. And she's like, "Oh, Isaac, this is a pleasant surprise. Have a seat." He was like, "Perhaps I will, but first I have an inquiry." He goes on his knees, pulls out the ring. He's like, "Will you marry me?"
Honestly, that blew my mind. It just blew my mind.
I
did not see that coming.
No.
Even though they were
completely.
Yeah, even though he was looking for bonding rituals, I didn't think he was looking for marriage rituals.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I thought he was looking for like dating advice from a computer.
Exactly, or something to get her some
One of
such
the
as
things
flower.
one of the things I like about what Isaac is doing is, what relationships are, and you two, being in your relationship now, there's give and take, there's acceptance, and then there are times we have to get out of our comfort zones for the betterment of our other.
Sure.
And those are challenges. We all know that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But for like, Kelly is kind of like the person you marry isn't the person you dated.
Mm-hmm.
And with Isaac, that goes out the window.
Right.
And in a sense, that's true because remember, Isaac is very, very young. Yes, he has all the knowledge of everything that happened, but he's only been around since 3 years ago when he was created to go be the ambassador on the Orville.
I suppose so. Like they don't
He's not
give
that
you
old.
an age,
Clear, you cradle snatcher.
but yeah, he's very young. You're right. Like just just how impressionable he is when like Lamar is like, "Oh, I don't know about just sticking with one partner or whatever," and so like that gives him another idea. He's like,
like wait a minute here.
Goes to Kelly's room, goes to his
Yeah.
office, like, "I would like to have a date with you, followed by possible sexual intercourse."
Oh,
And Kelly's like,
no.
"Whoa, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?"
Yeah.
But remember how
Wow.
the way Claire does it is so perfect.
Her reaction is to answer as if he asked, "How are you?" And so she just goes, "Fine, thank you." Is that an
I
affirmative?
will eat
No,
you
it's
for
not.
breakfast with a blueberry drink, I think it was, or something like that.
Oh, no, that was
Do not
Claire.
mess with Claire.
That was Claire because she was
Do
pissed.
not mess with Claire. Great grief. But
like I
She
was
was
telling
no
Lamar deserved it.
I was telling Alicia, it was like, like it would have made more sense if she was just like, Commander Lamar, please come to sick bay. We need to talk. And then had that conversation in private. But I think it was funnier that like to have her like come out all angry, like Lamar, like
Lamar, get your ass down here now.
I think they chose that for comedic purposes.
Okay. you've seen a pissed off woman before. Do you think pissed off women are going to be that rational?
No,
No.
I just thought it was funny.
We're not. We're
It was-
not that
it was
rational.
funny.
No,
not.
you're gonna make us see. No, guys will do stuff in private. We'll fight. We'll get over it. But you make a public spectacle. You make sure
Guys
everybody
do
knows
too,
why
trust
you're
me.
mad.
But girls are more so. Girls are more emotionally charged with it.
That is
Yes, you
true.
are.
That is
And you will
true.
make sure a guy knows he fucked up.
Yep.
Yes.
And you will make sure everybody else knows he fucked up.
And then
Yeah.
everyone else will know. Do not give my husband advice.
Yes.
Or else you'll face me.
Stay
I'm
away
pretty
from
sure-
my man.
Fiance, whatever.
I'm pretty sure Lamar will keep that in mind next time he speaks with Isaac about anything at this point.
Well, like how she said, she said it perfectly when she said, my future husband is very impressionable. And, it's the first time anybody's ever put that together. And I
That's a
think
good point.
Clara has always understood that and has really been the only one who's ever truly understood Isaac as
Yeah.
best she can.
Yeah, I love the point where she was like, the last time he took your advice, I had to watch him with wearing some dirty ass underwear. He's like, I didn't tell him. I was like, shut up! I don't want to hear it.
She's like, nope, stop right there. Stop right there, Lamar. Don't go any further.
Yeah. Don't mess with Claire.
I'm
Don't ever
glad.
mess with
I'm glad they referred back to the dirty underwear.
I know.
Now, you know what I love the best is, but it comes a little later.
Mhm. But yeah, so
That's what I love about seeing different species give advice to these aliens, and then aliens taking things so literally or misunderstanding.
mhm.
Like
Bordis does all the time with Gordon.
oh
Yeah,
like
exactly.
when he was
Because
smoking
Boris
or
seems to be the best choice for best man. I'm like, oh god, no.
Yeah, there was a B
or when
plot to
Isaac
this,
decided to have a moustache.
right?
A mustache, a mustache.
I know. I want to sing that song too.
You must always.
Oh no, that's gonna be stuck in my head. No, oh my god.
But so there is a B plot to this where they have to go back to, what was the planet again?
Sargus
Sargus
4
4.
or something?
It was
Sargus-
the vote. It was the
August
voting
4, I
planet.
think.
Okay,
Yeah.
Sargus
Sargus
4.
4, which was in a we had
Majority
previously
rules.
Majority
in
rules.
majority rules where Lamar humped the statue and got
And he's
arrested.
Yeah.
Upvote,
And-
downvote planet.
Yeah, where everyone who got a badge, that's where that
Yeah,
came from.
I still have my badge.
But as they get closer to the planet, they're getting a hail, and so they open the channel, and it's Lysella, who is from that episode as well. She was the one when she first meets Lamar, she finds him attractive and like gives him a green thumbs up or whatever.
I
Yes,
like
an upvote.
Upvote.
An upvote, thank you. And then later on helps, they take her to the ship and she helps to save him.
Which reminds me, people, don't forget to hit that like button.
Oh yes, please.
Upvote
Yeah.
the video.
We want the upvotes. We don't want the downvotes, folks. We want the
No.
upvotes.
Hey, Aussie upvotes are just as good. They still get noticed.
So
I've
Yes.
gotten a few damn votes, and I'm like, thank you. But that's me. I'm a sociopath. What do you expect?
so she wants to be picked up. She's apparently so scared now that she wants to be picked up and is asking for asylum.
Right, because two of her friends were politically corrected and everything like that. Like
Yeah.
Lamar was going to be. So,
Yeah, and so she is like she after the whole majority rules thing, she obviously was not really for that anymore, and now it's probably gotten more intense, and she's just so so they take her because they're like, I mean, she's already seen the ship, she's already been here before, like
Mhm.
so they
I kind of wonder if that would happen eventually. I kind of wonder if we see her again. So
I like
she
I
did-
like-
I
She
was
did
actually
decide to stay,
surprised to
so.
see. I was actually surprised to see her again.
It was
I
good to
was
see her though.
gratefully surprising, but I did not think we would see that planet again. Or no, we didn't see the planet, but I didn't think we'd see her again.
Right.
Yeah.
Same here.
From
So she's
That's what I
at
like
fir-
about this season. There's a lot of callbacks to previous seasons. Like we
Oh
had
yeah.
oh yeah, that's
the
the thing.
one where
Yes.
Claire is not Claire, Kelly's the Messiah, and the Messiah planet, all worship and adore,
Right. And she
and
has to explain to Lucilla why she can't just give people technology or help someone like that. Just help people who don't know any better. Um, that's one of the you know why she knows. But then
Mm.
instead of telling that story, she gets caught trying to steal the thing, and then instead of like punishing her, she takes her to like the simulator, and they simulate like a world that was around at a certain time, and then fast 5 years later, it's destroyed. It's post-apocalyptic,
I love
and
that
the
scene.
and
It
the
was
and she
very Matrix Morpheus like, just
a little
like
yeah,
Neo
It,
and sitting down.
but
Welcome to the
but
world of
it
nothing.
but
definitely.
it goes into the truth of the matter. In advanced technology, if you're not ready for it, is going to end in disaster for the
Oh
people
yeah.
who have it. This
Exactly.
is just historical.
Well,
It sucks, but it happens.
Mm-hmm.
well, for Lucilla, she was starting to feel guilty for
Hmm.
quote unquote surviving. It was, and I kind of called it before Kelly literally called it in my notes, survivor's guilt.
Right.
And
Basically, yeah. The
and
one that got away.
she and you shouldn't feel. I mean, people feel this way. It's normal to feel this way when you're trying to escape an oppressive society. But when you're trying to survive, you need to survive. That's the important thing.
Hmm.
Um,
There was probably some like homesickness as well, like
Sure.
it
that
could
whole
be
new.
homesickness as well.
It was
To
it
Well,
a
was
certain
Yeah.
extent as well. That is
I'll
You
give
true.
know,
you an
trying to
example.
adapt to a whole new world. It's scary.
Yes.
I'll give you my real world example of the Survivors Guild I felt one time. I was going to my Air Force base to get my retirement card. 20 years of service, I was getting the blue card. And it's what we call it, the blue card, because it's
Mm-hmm.
blue. I thought that was going to be the happiest day of my life, other than my marriage and my kids. I get on the base. They've got extra security going, and I'm like, I talked to the guard at the base security force. I'm like, what happened? And he's like, one of our planes crashed and the pilot died. And then I found out about who the pilot was. He was a young captain who, unfortunately, he made a pilot error and got his wing clipped and then ejected. But then there was a mechanical error and the fucking chute did not deploy, and he died. He
Wow.
was 25 years old. He was married and he had a 1 year old son. And
Wow.
I literally was walking in to get my blue card. And I went home later after that. And I was talking to my wife and I was like, this is not fair. I said it. And I still feel it sometimes. I'm like, why did I deserve to serve 20 years, 18 of them in a war? And this guy at 25 with a young kid and his, officer,
Hmm.
and now he's dead.
Right.
And his wife and child are now fatherless. And I was like, yeah, it still affects me
Right.
because I didn't even know the guy. I didn't have to know the guy. It was the point of how it was like, literally said, and I've said this to my kids a bunch of times. Life's not fair, but I was at a moment where I was like, I felt this wasn't fair. I felt it wasn't right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what survivor's guilt is, basically. Yeah, it's where
Yeah.
it's like you survived, they didn't, and you feel bad for it. Yeah.
You don't
Right.
feel
You're,
worthy.
you're questioning yourself. Yeah.
You're like, why me? Why am I enjoying this lovely luxury, lovely house? Heating and that. Well, there's people starving in Africa that barely have anything, and leaky roofs and that.
Exactly. I noticed that we have a new addition.
Yes. Hello, Mira.
Hello.
Welcome aboard.
I'm
Hi,
an
Mia.
old edition. I don't know what you're talking about.
A
Nice
new
to see you,
old
Mira.
edition. There we go.
Hi, Jesse.
What's up, bud? Been a
We
long
love you
time.
long time.
For
As you can
those of
see
you who
by my
don't know,
avatar.
Mir, you don't know when I first started my channel, Mir was one of my first regulars. Unfortunately, I fucked up and pissed a lot of people off, and he left.
Well, I
And
don't
then
know if
he
you
had-
can see. According to my avatar, I'm in a very loving mood tonight.
I can see.
Oh yeah.
What is that? Is that
So-
an
Well, that's
alien
right
and
now, huh?
That's-
human?
That's alien love right there.
That's right. That is.
Aw.
Behold the power of the xenomorph.
Yes.
Intergalactic
Just make sure
racial
you wear
love,
protection,
apparently.
otherwise you may end up with a
Intergalactic
chest
love.
buster.
I'm
Yeah,
going to
Hey,
put some
Mir, I have
things.
a question real quick.
Fire
How's school
ready.
going? You still doing it?
I actually had to switch majors, and I'm now getting my going for my accounting degree, and I'm getting my CPA. I'm taking an awful lot of courses this month, and so I'm struggling to maintain sanity at the moment.
Oh, I've been there. Accounting. Oh, that's a tough one.
Offering a little bit of insight into survival's guilt. I actually had to go to a funeral this week for a friend of mine, same age, same age as my wife and I, and we, and she went down to vacation down to the Keys in Florida, and while in the water, she had a massive heart attack and died.
Ooh.
And she left behind.
Mm.
I mean, not only did she leave behind a loving husband, but her daughter, who turned 13 that freaking day.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, it was just, and my wife and I, we sat there and we're just like, oh, like this really, really hits hard, and it's like it's hitting us hard. You can only imagine how her husband and her daughter are feeling. And just thinking about it, in this world, you're only guaranteed a certain number of heartbeats.
That's true.
And every single one of us. Now, I don't intend to outlive any of you motherfuckers. Pardon my French, not by any stretch of the imagination. But at the same time, that's my story. John, like living in that lovely kingdom that you have sitting all around you, that's your story. And it's up to us.
I'm sorry for your wife, your friend.
I appreciate it. It was just it was really everyone was shocked, but nobody was surprised. It was one of those kind of deals.
Okay.
Well, Mira, I don't know if you know. I don't know if you saw. I can't remember, but my wife lost her mom in January.
I did see that. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And I sent you a message that you didn't read, apparently.
Well,
it's okay. No, you were banned off of Twitter at the time. It's fine.
No, it's okay. Like I said, it was sudden. Those unexpected. I had someone send me a message. I'm not going to say who because I want to respect their privacy. But they had someone who they had their sister die. Mm-hmm. And, several of their children were there to pull the plug. And they were able to hold hands and hold their mom's hand and say goodbye. And, that's something my wife is really hurting on at times is because her mom's death was so sudden. she didn't get to say goodbye.
Mm.
And
that's
that's exactly the same way as my father. I mean, my dad died 22 years ago. He was there 1 minute and gone the next, and we had, it was horrible. But at the same time, that's part of your story. Your life is going to be influenced by, and it's a major hit, but your lives are going to be influenced by that part of your story. And the only thing that we are hopefully are mature enough to do is to make our best story, whatever that is. For all of us, it's going to be different.
I agree.
Oh yeah.
And
And
Okay.
I think that's what's so special about this episode is because, as Isaac pointed out, Claire, she's no getting any younger. She's at that point in her life
True.
where it's important that she make the best of it while she's still got the looks.
And may I just say real quick, have you noticed this is the second time this actress has gotten married in a sci-fi series?
Oh,
Yes.
gee, what was the first
That's a good-
one?
DS9.
Disco.
DS9.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
Oh yeah, she married
did-
Cisco.
I did like
The
when
Cisco. Yeah.
I did like
Oh
after.
yeah, I forgot that. Yeah.
Yeah, I really loved how after like the whole Claire thing or
I'll
the
be right back.
Kelly thing happened. Yeah, when the whole Kelly thing, he goes into her office and is like, let's have a date. And he's like, no, get out of here. She tells Claire, and then the next thing you see is like they're in Claire's quarters with Isaac, and Claire is like, what were you thinking? And then like he explains what he was thinking, and she's like, no, this is how it's going to work. We got to put some boundaries down. It's just you and me. It's not you and me and Kelly. It's not you and me and Bortis. It's not you and me and whoever. So he was like, and then he goes, you work. I understand. It is obvious that I've made a grave error. How do I? What can I do to prevent such errors from occurring again? Which. Like that whole thing was like, oh, like he understands that he made a mistake and he wants to fix it. I love that.
Yes, something no man has ever been willing to admit in the history of men.
I mean, most of the time, sure.
I love what she says. I love what Isaac says, and he goes, "What happens when I'm gone? Maybe I'll choose another mate." And she kind of gets, a little upset. Like,
Yeah, she's a little freak.
But then what he says is, I will continue to look after your family. And
every generation.
Yes.
He said it will be interesting to see how they go through the eons. This is his mindset, and he's going to look after them. And look, when Isaac says he's going to do something, he's going to fucking do it.
Oh, yeah. And
he
I
follows through with
have
it,
no
yes.
doubt in my mind that he means what he says when he tells Claire that. And then so Claire is like, I got to talk to Kelly about this. And so she goes to Kelly, and I think it's Kelly and Tala.
Tala?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. To say, should I marry? Should I not marry? And then they're all saying, well, let's weigh the pros and cons.
What's the pros and cons?
They weigh the pros and cons, and then somewhere in between there, Ed walks in. And he's like, "Oh shit! I walked into a bombshell. You guys are busy."
He's like, I'm out. And he's like, no, stay around.
walked into a hornet's nest right there.
Sober of the all.
Superman and Absolute. That was hilarious.
They forgot to mention the most important thing. He's great in bed, apparently.
Oh yes, no, that is apparently a good, a con or a pro. That's okay.
It's like, did I just lose an argument I don't remember having?
But yeah, so Ed, like they asked Ed for some advice, and the only thing I could say is like, what about the kids? Like, have you talked to your kids?
Well, the kids thinking and he says, "Okay, Superman, you have done your duty. You can depart."
They look at each other with like satisfaction. It's like, actually, that's a good answer. And then that's when Kelly goes like, "Yeah, okay, you're dismissed, Superman."
Well, like not only is
You know
it
what?
satisfaction,
You have
like,
done
my
your
God,
job.
why didn't we think of this?
Gold star.
Yeah, you know what is so funny about seeing? He was like, "Oh, he had that. Oh, thank God, look! Now get out of here!"
Saved by
Man
the
in a salute. That's hilarious.
He
That
knows
was
that he knows
hilarious.
those three would eat him alive, like in a situation like that. Like, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
But
One
it
one
has a
situation
pretty
where no
good
guy wants to
advice,
be in a
though.
room with a bunch of drunk women. Like anything could
Oh,
happen.
hey, John, think about this too. Why do you think he mentioned the kids? Because he as a kid, he can't, see right now.
Hmm.
And
Right.
I think that added weight, in my opinion, him asking about the kids. I know Kelly said they talked about it, but they never had kids.
Right.
But Ed is like, he's kind of reminding me a little bit of me. Military is one thing, but family always comes first, and you'll put your career on the line for your kids,
Hmm.
hands down, no matter what. And yeah, he's thinking, well, what do the kids think? Anybody? And it's like he's trying to think of the most reasonable thing to say to not get his ass shot in this situation.
Right. And he actually, to his credit, that was pretty good advice. So like,
It was. It really.
yeah.
It was a fair answer. I
Mhm.
can respect that
Yep.
answer from Ed. Yes, and it saves face. It lightens up the mood a little bit, but he's also being very,
Right.
very serious because we don't know what they think. We know at one point Marcus hated him and Ty has
Right.
always loved him, but
Yeah.
how do they feel about this new phase in the relationship? Are
And
they gonna
that's
still
where
love him?
Claire takes that advice, and she actually goes back to her quarters and is like, "Hey, Ty and Marcus, let's have a seat, let's talk." And she tries to like gently bring it up. It's like, I know it's been very hard this last year with Isaac, but I feel like most of the crew believes that he's redeemed himself, right? And then
Mhm.
Ty immediately goes, "Yes." And then she's like, "Marcus," because Marcus was the one who was upset in the first episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
But since
I
then,
was so
like,
surprised that he was the one that wrote the graffiti. I did not see that coming.
I kind of got understood. I mean, like, they
He
put all
was
this
the one
trust
that
in
was
him.
voting. He was the one that was having nightmares.
I was
So,
just
of
kind of
course he would
surprised that
act out like that.
I was just surprised that he would even have access to that part of the ship
I
at
agree.
that young age.
I was just
Maybe
really
Totally
if
actually
you're in the
a spray
military,
paint
there's
in the
this thing
first
called
place.
off limits. You know.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I
he
think
he could be a sneaky kid, I guess.
well, like, didn't they say something like he used Claire's access codes or
Yes, he
something like
did.
Yeah,
Yes,
that
I
is
think
true.
so, yeah.
that? Okay, so that's probably what happened then.
I guess the bathroom was just too much to ask. All good.
But yeah, so to his credit, he's actually like, yeah, I think he's redeemed himself. And then she's after that she looks really relieved, and she's like about to
Hey,
say
Bill.
she's about to say like what's going on, and then Ty interrupts her and says, "Isaac asked you to marry him." It's like,
Are you
I
gonna
say
do it or not?
yes. Like, are you gonna say mom? Yes, mom.
like
It's a
like
small ship. Everybody
like-
knows.
yeah, it's like, how'd you know? Like, Mom, you still don't know
Mom,
much
we're
about
on
the
a
small
small
ship thing, right?
Small
Look,
ship.
if you've served in the Marine Corps or you served in the Navy, trust me, there are many secrets on a small ship.
all
Or if you're in a small town.
All the news gets
Okay,
everywhere.
Oh,
guilty as
yeah.
charged over
Small
here. I live
town.
in
Word travels fast in a small town.
I live in a town of 1,500 people, and let me tell you, if my wife goes to the bathroom to take the most glorious of dumps, there is somebody looking in the window trying to find out what color it is and giving marks for texture.
Lovely.
Small school
I'm
in
gonna
a
go this.
small
I'm gonna say
town.
this with
Word
it.
travels so freaking fast,
It
you'll
does.
get whiplash.
It will.
I'm gonna say
It
this.
depends,
This
man.
one country singer said it best. Everybody dies famous in a small town.
This is all true.
It's very
I mean,
true.
on one hand, I don't leave my house ever in this town. But on the other hand, if my wife is she's a priest at a church here in town, and I
Mhm.
swear to God, if she goes into her office and she's doing what she does, if she goes to the bathroom and she blows it up in there, by the time she walks out, there's going to be 3 old people holding up scorecards.
Yep. I have those small hometown. Yeah, because everybody would
Mira,
say,
I don't
"Oh,
think
what
you
did-"
ever told me.
Yes.
Mira, I don't think you ever told me your wife was a priest.
She is indeed. She's been a priest since 2000. Well, yeah, 2014.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, those are
What denomination?
Episcopalian.
Oh,
Okay.
All right. So,
Although,
we
and
should
I'm
back to
Catholic, and I can actually say that. Well, never mind. I'm not going to say it here.
Well, I'm a baptized Catholic, so I can relate.
So, back to the show. Where were we? Where are we at
so
right now?
the funny thing is
I
when Claire asked her to be her maid of honor, we see this weird alien with 3 mouths and a
Oh, that was
bunch of
pretty cool.
eyes. That was
a
cool.
Yeah,
I
that
want
was-
to see him again. I really do.
That person is their own a cappella section. That's awesome.
There was one like
I
that
agree.
at Battlestar Galactica. Honestly, this thing had 3 heads, but it was like
I
stuck
love
in
the
my
whole
stomach.
harmonic thing. That's pretty cool.
I did too.
I thought
It made me wonder.
that was interesting. One thing I love about
What's it with
Orville is
sci-fi's
their
and
unique-
threes? It feels like a Trinity
One
thing.
thing I
Like
like about
Total Recall
Orville
had
is-
the boobs.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, no.
Well, he went
No,
total
no,
recall
sorry.
for a second.
Oh yes. Sorry, we were talking about threes, and I was like 3 heads, 3 mouths, 3 boobs. Oh,
2 dicks.
You're
those are
thinking
Klingons.
Total Recall.
yes,
Hey,
3 seasons.
the Holy Trinity.
I'm just gonna say this, and I don't talk about my sex life, but I only have one mouth.
And 2 hands.
And yeah,
There you go.
Oh,
Satisfaction
there
guarantee.
you go. Oh damn, maybe I could handle 3.
There you go.
I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that, Mir.
This is why I'm here. I'm here to enlighten and inform.
Give us the lighthearted side of life. We never take ourselves seriously around
But
here.
it was a lighthearted episode, so hey.
It was definitely a
Hey,
lighthearted
this
episode
was-
for the other 9, yes.
Yeah, it was.
Hey, newsflash.
this is the difference
and
when
like
it comes
this,
to like female geeks and nerds and us guys. Like people like Chloe and Alicia, they think about things that matter. Us guys, we think, how would we act in that situation? How would
many
we make
boobs
it?
could we add to this scene? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
How would we handle
look,
all
our
that?
blood,
Is
our
it
blood
realistic?
goes from here down south really quick.
But I do agree that that character with the 3 mouths was really like creative.
That was amazing.
Yes, it was designed very, very well. And all.
Yes, that was really as you said, like the harmonic that you can hear
Yeah.
like the 3 individual voices. I thought that was cool. It made me wonder if like he can like manipulate them, like one voice higher than another, do they all have to sound the same? I don't know. I did have questions, but
I mean, it's one of the things I love about the Orville the most is that even though it's got so many different topics that it approaches, it's at its heart, it's great sci-fi.
wonderful sci. This is the best
It is
sci-fi I've
It
seen
is.
in decades.
It's true.
Yeah, I am so
One
impressed.
of the things I like about it is the diversity of the ideas of the characters. It's something Star Trek tried to do, and in some ways they could, but let's be honest, CGI wasn't really there at
Sure.
the time until about Enterprise.
Yeah.
And
And then-
Orville is able to
And then
take
by Enterprise,
that.
CGI was still kind of iffy.
Well, it was wanky
Yeah,
as hell.
exactly.
Wanky.
Yeah, it was iffy as hell. I'm
Wanky
just
something
saying.
else.
But what I'm saying is what they're able to do with their makeup effects and their special effects now and with CGI.
Oh, it's hands down amazing.
Orville is able to really go that route with really these kind of alien races with maybe not with prosthetics, but sometimes CGI, like that one big guy who's always there in the engineering.
Unk.
Unk. Sorry,
So-
I made
so
a
they
brain
do-
fart in.
They actually do have the costume of Unk. I got to see the costume, but they and there is a guy in the costume, but what happens is they just replace the whole thing with CGI in the end.
Right. And
Yeah.
Seth is doing the voice of him.
And Seth does the voice, yeah.
And what I really like about the sci-fi of the Orville is that they use it very smartly and to different degrees of depth depending on the story.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So I mean, this one, the revolving theme for this entire episode was just the different cultures and all how they interact and with each other to varying degrees of success and or failure.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what about that? What about that scene when
Oh,
when Isaac contacts it asks Kalon Prime to like bring the entire
Planet.
planet and leave a skeleton crew on Kalon, and then bring the entire planet to watch this wedding.
Well, said to invite family and friends. You know?
But that was a little extreme.
Big family.
That's a big family.
Well, like you said, when he,
I hope they have a
when
big
he,
wedding
uh,
registry.
Sir,
well,
we
what
got
was interesting
we've got
was how
Kalon
he
ships
said
dropping
to-
out of orbit. How
and
many?
that's
All of them.
4,000. He says like 4,000 ships. I was like, oh
Yeah.
shit. And, okay, I'm gonna be honest. You know, you know the trailer that they showed us in the beginning of the week to entice us. I kind of wish they didn't show us that, because it did tease the end with Kelly and Ed holding hands. I didn't really. I wish I would have
Right.
not seen that.
Yeah.
But I wish I would have seen this instead. That shot where like there's that little Orville, and then suddenly like 100, Kalon ships drop out of warp right all around them. Just that shot, and when Gordon just going, oh my god, they tricked us.
The way
what
Ed
the hell is
handled
this?
that, though, he is an awesome captain.
Which one?
But it also goes to that naivete that Claire mentioned before.
Right. That's why she was like, Ed was like chief medical officer to the bridge, because like maybe Claire can figure.
And this also
And then
needs to be a
contact the
lesson.
union.
This
Yes.
needs to be a
Because
lesson
knows
to you
it's not
ladies.
a threat.
It's like,
Red alert! We got a Kalon attack.
ladies, you can lay down the law, but only so much.
Well, look at it this way. Like I said, the naivety of it is actually, if you really think about it, Kalon Prime is more naive than
I
than
agree.
he is, because he's only known relayed information where he's like, are they attempting to slave you? And
Right.
he's like,
No,
and
this
he
is
has
a
to
sure
explain,
thing.
no, this is a joint union. We're both doing this of our own free will.
Mhm.
And he's like, oh, congratulations. Do you want the entire...
He's like, yes.
And they send a compliment. They send the entire fleet for the wedding. I mean, honestly, as scary as that sounds, that's kind of actually rather beautiful.
It is,
Yeah.
because
You had
it's
the
like
entire
it's putting
Talon
away
fleet
that.
was trying to...
It's
You had the
like
entire
the
Talon fleet who was trying to destroy you less than a few months ago, showing up for his wedding and
Yeah.
Claire's wedding.
That's
Yeah.
true.
But yeah,
By
I
the
really
way,
wish. I
by
just
the
really
way,
wish that.
I do want to say. Oh, sorry, Jack.
I was
I
just
do
gonna
want to
say.
say this though.
All right, go ahead.
Never ask a guy about the dress. We suck
Oh,
at
God.
that.
I know we're terrible at it, and like I'm the same way. Like I was like on Ed's side. Like he gave an answer. Like he gave a good answer. You just didn't like the answer. It's not your fault.
I personally like this.
I'm
This is why
looking
you need
at
a gay
Elise.
friend.
Yeah,
Sure.
you pick out a
Us-
dress,
us
you
guys,
pick it
we
out
just
with
don't know
girls. You
fashion.
don't pick it out with him.
Don't
Okay,
worry.
fine.
I
I like this.
Why are you asking Ed?
Well, maybe she wants a diplomatic approach. I don't know.
She
You're
probably
being
wants a
very
male.
diplomatic with Ed there.
She probably wants a male opinion. Like,
Maybe.
Isaac gonna-
As long as he
is
doesn't
Isaac-
say this
is
makes you
Isaac
look
gonna
fat.
like this?
But here's the thing. I think Ed didn't want to say I like the ones where I think Ed didn't want to be like I like the one with the cleavage better. because that's what they were talking about. They were talking about the cleavage, right? Like, oh, I thought the one with the cleavage was better or something like that. So they go back and they're like, Ed, what do you think? And he's like, I like it. He's like trying to
Yeah,
cover.
because he's trying to save face. He's in a very awkward situation. Yes.
Yeah.
The simple fact is, this is not our. This is just not a guy's arena. Leave us out of
No.
it.
This particular part, though, where all the Kalon ships show up, it's very interesting because, again, it's that revolving theme throughout the entire episode. Like, just as how uncomfortable the crew was between Bortus and Clyden, the crew is equally as uncomfortable when 4,000 Kalon suddenly show up out of nowhere.
Well, like, I mean, you heard Ed, or Gordon's reaction. He thought they got tricked in that they were about to get fucking blown up.
Yes, but Gordon is kind of a diva. Let's just be honest here.
Yeah,
You're right about
I think
that.
it's quite a normal
He's
reaction.
taking over too, knowing that Boris had taken over his part as best man. He's like, oh no.
Very recently, just the last episode, they were enemies, so it's not hard to believe.
I did like the fact that like Gordon, who like agreed with Charlie about Isaac and like didn't really trust Isaac for the longest time, like even believed that he didn't really redeem himself and when he did or whatever. Suddenly, like, Isaac's like, I would like to invite you to be my best man, and he's like, oh my god, I could be your best man.
Yes, we're gonna talk about that scene.
But
yes,
the
Boris like,
no, best man. That's what I don't get.
Well, Bortus considers himself funny.
And he's not.
So my theory is that Bortus is probably funny on Mockless because there's a very different type of comedy on Mockless.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, deadpan, very deadpan, yes.
But it's not. It's like he doesn't understand human.
He has the hints of understanding, like some kind of humor, between the humans, quote unquote humans, in there. But he's nowhere near getting that. And again, this all goes back to not understanding each other's cultures.
Yes, I agree.
Can I tell you how damn funny that was?
That was Bortus as Elvis.
Oh my god! You see the two totally different between the bachelor party and the bachelorette party. They're having a great time with that Isaac stripper.
Only Bortus. I was
wondering.
Elvis.
I had a feeling.
Wait. First, let's talk about the Elvis Bortus, and then we'll talk about the Isaac stripper.
Okay. Quote unquote.
That's why I put the strobe lights on. We're talking about strippers.
I would have loved to have my grandmother see that. Honestly.
We're talking about stripping. That's why I put the strobe lights on.
I'm saying this in Tennessee, the home state of Graceland, that only Bortus can make Elvis boring as hell.
That's what I said. Exactly what I said. It was okay.
Clearly, Bortus was looking at Fat Elvis when he did his research.
Yeah, because
not his early years.
I was sitting here like, why is he doing "Love Me Tender"? Why is he not doing Hound Dog? Why is he not doing the? Why is he not doing the hip dancing? He's got to do the hip dancing. That's what's. If he did the hip dancing, he would have made Clyden and Kelly swoon.
Well, Kelly wasn't there. She was
if they were there.
True. You're right. Kelly wasn't there.
I'm going to say this. Think about this. Bortus is just a natural straight man. What I mean by that is like what O'Brien said to Tusk. You're the first natural straight man. He really doesn't have much of a sense of humor.
Right.
And he's very like, be quiet.
Yeah.
But he is a softie. You have to admit, he is a bit of a softie.
Oh, I admit that. But when it comes to how he acts,
the big teddy bear. All bark, no bite.
Unless you fuck with Topa.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or
yes.
Don't get me started on that. I was
if
like,
you mess with Topa, he
like,
becomes Papa Bear.
I was
listen,
like,
Mom,
if
baby.
Bortus walks out of there not doing something, I was going to be pissed. because I was, I know that's off topic. That's the other episode,
I'm-
but I'm like, no man is going to let some other guy
Mess
fuck
with
with
this
his
little girl.
daughter and get away
Yeah.
with it. And Mir knows this about me. Knows I will do whatever it takes to protect my daughters.
Of
I'm
course.
surprised you
We
let him
all would.
live.
I won't even mess with him about it.
But
To
yeah,
his
so
face.
yeah, so like he was very bad with the
Yes, we see the huge contrast.
it was a nice setting, but then like he the execution was flawed. But then you go to the other side. Now we get to talk about the stripper Isaac.
Yeah.
Yes, I
I
thought
was-
at first it was Isaac,
I was
but
wondering how they were going. I knew there was going to be a stripper, but I was wondering, does CBS have the balls to have a pro male stripper? No, they handled it classy. They made it funny.
Yes.
They had a robot.
It was the day that Isaac became the meat market.
It was hilarious because here's the thing: Isaac is normally naked, right? If you know what I mean. And so, like, when he's wearing the chaps and the jacket, and they're like, "Take it off," I'm like, "Why? Why are you telling him to take? You've already seen this. You've already seen what it looks like under there." No, we didn't because I didn't know that he had
What was with the
he had the
tassel?
tassels under the.
I know. I
Makes me
know.
wonder what would have happened if he took off his pants. So, like,
Oh my God! Would you just see the wire?
you can leave your head on. Someone get the man a hat.
Well, I
There'd
can
be
assure you
some-
guys, we are not. Me and Jack are not having a bachelor or bachelorette party.
Yeah,
like that.
there's, in that
No.
case, there'd be like a wire hanging, and if he moves it just the right way, it arcs. you know? Look, I've seen Stranger Things. It's all right.
But yeah, so I thought that bachelor part was hilarious.
Yes, you see the huge contrast.
Like Claire was so into it, like she got up and started dancing.
Oh my God! Yes.
She's like,
I
you know,
was like,
they're-
do you want to be left alone, Claire?
Do you need a room, Claire?
We'll just go leave you. Yeah.
And
It's
right
like-
after that, I love the transition back to the men.
It's like, does it count as cheating if it's the same guy? If it's a holographic representation of him?
And then you sit there, you see Gordon has passed the fuck out.
They're all like this.
Gordon's
They're all like,
passed
I
out.
want to die.
Oh,
Lamar's
God.
like,
I'm
"Kill
so
me
bored.
now."
Everyone's
Like-
bored.
Worst
Love me
bachelor party
tender,
ever.
love me true.
And you hear Clyde go, yay, yay, yay! Like,
Clyden is trying to make up for all those stupid shit he did early on
Well-
in this season.
And not only that, but I guarantee you that Clyden was genuinely entertained.
I
I'm
agree.
again,
what?
Oh,
It's-
Possibly
it is that
genuinely
revolving
entertained.
theory.
I agree.
It's
I
that
agree
revolving theory of, these people don't understand the culture of Mockless, for example.
Well, no, yeah, I do agree with you
Yes.
there. He actually oh shit, what was I gonna say? I don't know.
I mean, for
It was
Clyde and
funny as
standards
hell.
and Boris'
It was.
standards, sure, it's probably entertain him, but
And
ours,
and I do agree there is going to be a certain level of ass kissing on the part of Clyden, especially given the overarching theme throughout the entire season.
Sure. I mean, yeah, Clyden fucked up in the beginning, and then like made up for it.
Yep.
It kind of reminds me of like Conan the Destroyer, where you've got the woman barbarian and this young princess, and she's like, "What do you do if you like a man?" And she's like, "You'll take him."
Take him.
And it's like, yeah, I don't think that's gonna work in her society, honey.
Wasn't that Grace Jones?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's
So-
hilarious.
So, is there anything else we should talk about before we talk about the wedding itself?
let me check my notes.
Well, I did notice,
yeah.
kind of off topic, but on topic. But I did notice like something a little bit sneaky, I think, in the captions
Yes.
where it was so specific. I think it was like a quote unquote secret Easter egg in a way.
Okay.
But a few times when the caption says Chilean or
Ah,
Zalea. Instead of spelling it with an X, it would spell it with an S, which is, I
I
think
noticed that.
Yes.
was the original spelling in the
Mm-hmm.
replica script that Alicia has.
Hmm.
Yes.
I thought that was interesting. Very
It was.
interesting.
Okay.
It was.
Of course, I would notice it because I use captions all the time, but
I'm, I
I
noticed
saw
it
it
too
and I
because
was like, wait a minute. And I had to literally rewind it and see it again.
I noticed it too. I didn't question it. I figured it was just like some caption person, whoever's doing the caption is just going off by ear or something like that, and not really doesn't really know the spelling of it all. I don't know.
Mm,
Either way, it was definitely odd to see.
I did notice
yeah,
that. I know she
yeah.
noticed that. She pointed it out. To be
Uh,
honest.
Ah,
Yeah.
well, I noticed it and I was like, So I asked Alicia about it and she said it was similar to
Yes,
the one in the
it
script.
is. It
So
is.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm pretty sure the official spelling is with an X,
it
but
Correct.
is.
but there's still. I mean, it's probably easier for other people to just spell it that way, Saleya, because that's how it sounds. So
Right. And then with an X, like,
True.
huh? But I think the only thing else to mention is like Lacella. She's trying to figure out what she wants to do on the Orville now that she's been granted
yes,
asylum.
yeah,
And
she's granted
so,
asylum. Yeah, I remember she at first she felt guilty and she wanted to go
right.
back, but
And
then
she's trying to find a job basically on what to do. And Kelly's trying to explain to her how the union works because she's used
right,
to getting job, money, roof over
like
your head, food, whatever.
she's used to like just getting a job,
Yep.
whatever job. She's not used to being like, oh, like I want to be a historian,
Yep.
and I just get to be a historian. I don't get paid, but I get, I get, I like my job, so that is what I get out of it.
And again, it
The-
all goes back to that theme where even if we look alike, two humans' cultures are very, very different.
And
True.
very,
You
yeah,
know,
well,
like when
you
she
think
goes to
about
try to steal
Com
the
scanner.
technology to go and in order to head back to her planet and try to give her home planet the Orville's technology, and then Kelly showing her like why. It's one
yeah,
thing to
Mm-hmm.
explain that this is their law. It's another thing to explain why this is
why,
their law. And I thought
Mm-hmm.
that
exactly.
part was incredibly powerful.
It was
Yes.
such a good
I
scene.
do like.
I have something here. John, what country are you in right now? I think you're the only one outside of the US. I'm just asking, no judgment.
Scotland. Money on
All right.
Scotland.
Okay. So you're in Scotland. We're all humans,
Right?
but our culture here in America, and I'm going to use this specifically because it's one of the big issues, is guns. Your culture has a very different view on guns and gun rights. Our culture,
Yeah.
True.
especially people like me, has a very different view. Many cultures have been willing to give those up without giving it much, I guess, thought. And I'm not saying that's how yours did, because I don't know how Scotland did things.
Mm.
But in our culture, the idea of taking our weapons away is taking something personal away from us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Right.
it means something to a lot of us. Whereas I've noticed in most European cultures, your view on guns and what they're used for is very, very different than ours. So while we look alike, we are very different in our cultures. Your government and your society is very different from mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
I,
yeah. I
I,
mean,
I, I,
and
I
and
Does
the
think
that
thing
make
is,
sense?
yeah.
with all the different countries that are out there, with all those different
Yeah.
uh, um, things that cultural things that they do, um, and to think that like we're very much alike in a lot of other ways. Either otherwise,
The thing is, we don't have to look different to be different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Well, look at it
on
this way.
On a
Oh, sorry,
completely
Amir.
different note, Jesse, I was kind of hoping that you're going to go a completely different direction with this. It's like our cultures have two very very different opinions regarding haggis. We will not eat haggis for the love of it. And I'm sure
No,
Listen,
we will not eat haggis, but I hadn't thought about that.
and I think it's because
But,
it was pronounced differently. Like you say it's called haggis, we get the actual anatomical definition, and it just kind of turns us all off.
Well, I also in America, our cultures are very different. I'm a Midwesterner. Jack lives in California. AVP lives in Maryland. Yes, I said Merlin. Deal with it. That's how I pronounce it. Do you know how hard it is for me to say Maryland? I know it drives people nuts, but I also say things like or. I know there's no
And I'm a
R in it,
southern
but
woman.
that's
I
how
live
I
in
say it.
Florida.
Can you say the name Mary?
Maryland. You call it Maryland.
Mary
Maryland.
Land.
Maryland.
Mary,
But
Craig, and
the
Terry.
thing
And I'm a
is,
southern
even in
woman. I live in
America-
Florida.
And she lives in
Oh.
Florida.
And I'm just from
So-
all over.
That's Tennessee.
So I mean, not only have I lived like everywhere you guys are right now, I have cousins that are in oh god, what's it called? Crap, Newcastle.
Oh,
Not too
nice.
far away from John. So I'm just a mutt. I've been everywhere.
But
Ev-
like
even-
I said, the
Even
thing is,
comparing like Newcastle, it's the same here in Scotland. Like if you were to go up to the Highlands, you would not understand a word they said. But if you like go
They talk
down
too
south,
fast,
it's different
yes.
dialects, different cultures.
different
It's like
slander.
once you cross a border, everything's different. Different
Eh,
traditions,
and-
different.
And which one of you
apparently
calls?
it's even in
Go ahead.
sign language too. There are different sign language dialects, quote unquote, in different regions, even in the U.S. too. ASL, like apparently in California, it's different than in the East Coast or even North and South or something like that. I don't know the specifics of it, so I'm not going to go into it that much. But I'm just really learning about it. But yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, I
I was gonna say. I was gonna ask. Does anyone on this panel use the word "pop" when it comes to carbonated drinks?
yes,
No.
most of my family does.
I knew
See,
that Jesse was going to hell.
Yes.
No,
See,
I
here's
use
the thing.
soda.
I use soda too. I call
Yeah.
it soda because
Soda.
like
I
that's
say
how I
soda.
was raised. That's it. I mean, there's just,
I was raised to use
but
soda.
that's the difference. Like within the regions, I guess. Like you
Well,
guys.
What
Yeah.
busy just here?
Some people
See,
say
that's
y'all.
kind of what I was talking about, but I used ASL, but I guess I could have just used the spoken English language too.
This
Well,
is
there
Soda,
were
pop,
complex
whatever.
languages
Where-
too. I mean,
There were a lot of times where using the word Coke was a generic term for soda.
well, no, that's in
Um,
Georgia.
Oh,
That is only in the state of Georgia. Every single
Yes, I
carbonated
know
beverage
because
on
I've
Earth
been there.
is called Coke. And why? Because Coca-Cola originated in Georgia.
Atlanta.
Yes, I've been there. I've been to that factory.
Me too.
I have a book
Now,
about it.
listen to someone from the Bronx of New York. I'll say this: park the car. If you hear someone from the Bronx say, they say, "Park the car."
No, that's New England.
That's Boston.
That's
Boston-
that's my home turf. I was born in
that's
Rhode
the
Island.
Bostonians.
Oh,
That's my
was that,
You
was
park
that
the
more
car in the yard.
Boston?
Sean.
Was that more Boston than Brooklyn?
Yeah,
Yes, that's more Bostonians.
I'll take
Yeah,
your word
that's
for it.
Boston.
Here, I'm going to take your word for it, buddy.
yeah, and up there you park the car in the yard.
Oh,
All right.
And then you go hang out with your aunt, right?
So this is a great segue to the wedding. It's not really, but I'm trying to get back to like on topic.
Of course.
Yeah.
But yeah. Good point, darling.
Well, can I say my one theory first that I was gonna say, and then we
Sure.
got off topic.
Okay.
Lucetta, I think she's going to become a part of the crew in season 4. That's
I'm
what I
kinda hoping
think.
so,
That's my
too.
theory.
Hopefully,
So
So
yeah,
yeah.
she's going to be Charlie's
I
replacement.
that's kind of
yeah,
my
I
hope.
got that same impression too.
Yeah.
My idea was this: like
He's going to become the
the
new
the,
ensign.
the beginning of season
Going to
four.
the academy.
It's the beginning of season four, first episode, and they're at their current mission is to go back to Earth and pick up some new recruits from Union Academy, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
when we get there and we pick them up at the end of the episode or something like that, it's Lysella, newly ensign Lysella, and newly ensign Topa.
Yeah,
Mm.
that
Now,
would be interesting. Yeah, Topa would definitely be one of the
there is
crew
I want
one
to
too.
be a
thing.
Naya.
There is one thing I want to see in season four. I want to see Anaya there with Topa
I
and
want
the
I
Yeah.
want to see I want to see
Claire's two
Anaya.
boys.
I definitely want to see Anaya and Ed like actually finally unite. You know what I mean? That I was kind of hoping that that's where that was going to be where they went in this episode, but now that I'm kind of glad that they didn't. Like, we can save it for season four. Hopefully, there's a season four. So,
Yes.
um,
Well, what pissed me off in the prior episode was the way, and I'm sorry I can't remember the mom's name now.
Talia.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. She was still putting herself before a child.
yes,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
didn't like that either.
that reminded me so much of my ex-wife. And that's why
You're here.
that's why our daughter, my ex-wife is the bio mom. My wife now, Rachel, is my daughter's mother because she's been her mother. Because she's always, and I've told my wife, I was like, you come before the military, but the children would come before anything. Took me a long time to get there, but I did. And my wife felt the same. And she took on Trisha as her own. And as far as I'm concerned, my ex-wife, she has no grandson. That is my wife's grandson.
Yeah, we got a taste of your ex-wife in that one video.
Yeah. Well, it was nice to have some finally validation of her. I couldn't believe she became a YouTube video.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
actually, I could.
yeah. But
Everyone
anyway,
wants their 15
That
minutes.
that's what
so
I like about the Orville is it handles a lot of like big subjects, questions of morality, like what deems a mother, what deems a father. Um, if you have all this power, why can't you use it? And
mhm,
like the time travel
Yeah.
episodes
yeah.
where they take a completely different view from Picard, which I totally enjoyed that. Where it's like, should we let them live in the past and just hope for the best that nothing bad will happen,
That,
or
that-
do we or do we just
it
take them
just wouldn't work.
home? Yeah,
Yeah, because I think Seth, like, when he tweeted about this and he talked about this in the Comic Con panel. A lot of people who were upset that uh, Ed just took Gordon from the past or
yeah,
whatever. Like, what
yeah,
what they don't understand is that presumably Laura, his wife, actually got together with her boyfriend Greg at the time. Remember, Greg was a big part of this picture at the
Mm-hmm.
time, but
yeah,
now he's out of the picture because Gordon's in. Presumably, she had a family with him, with Greg, and that family got wiped out when Gordon came into the picture.
yeah,
Yep.
So
yeah.
what they were doing was
It's
restoring a
the
time.
butterfly effect. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
they were. Yeah,
causality. It was always meant to be in a way.
yeah, and
And
then of course it was always easier. It should. I mean, like, it was easier to get Gordon back from, like, when he was stuck in the 3 month period
Right.
than when he's stuck in the 10-year period and he's
yeah,
fucking settled down. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that one another time. But what I like about this is, they had the wedding vows. That was really
Well,
Um,
we should talk about the special guest.
Oh yes,
Yes,
that's it. In there.
yes.
that
Yes,
was
yes,
Somebody
yes.
so beautiful.
somebody came from Saleya, just all the way from Saleya in her she's still recovering, but she came for a little while just to say hi.
I love that. That was just great.
Oh
It
Yeah,
my
was so
gosh, yes, I
beautiful.
love her.
It's always great seeing her. The last time we saw her was the end
Alara.
of season 2,
Yes.
where they do the time travel episode.
In the alternate
Um,
timeline, yeah.
yeah,
and
Mm-hmm.
she
and
and that ultimate timeline, you
And she
know,
got to meet the other Chilean.
yeah,
yeah, and
Yes,
they seem to have good rapport. Like they seem to
they
have
do.
good rapport. They were
Yeah.
like, "Eh,
I think she accepts. Remember, she just can't take the medication, and her body doesn't accept it like some other Chileans might.
yeah.
So she,
Right.
she is actually grateful that there's another Chilean on there.
I
I
think
Mhm.
think
so
there
too."
was a lot of respect there. It's like, she said,
Yeah,
"I keep in
Yeah.
my seat."
Yeah.
I actually it actually feels like they met before, like the way they
Maybe they
talk to
met.
each other.
Maybe they're back on the home planet. Maybe because they are from the same planet.
Perhaps,
I
Maybe
perhaps
think.
so.
it did seem like there was like they had met before, and there was some
Yeah.
camaraderie
Right.
there.
Or maybe they met at the academy.
Mm.
Perhaps.
Maybe
I think
so.
the only part that was missing was Ed asking her to open up a jar of pickles. You know?
That would
Oh,
have
that
been
would have
sweet.
been nice. That would have
That
been
would have been sweet.
nice.
Yeah.
Hey, question for you guys. Did we see Kermit on Ed's desk at all this year? Because I'm
Yes.
trying to
Yes,
remember.
Yes.
Oh,
once.
we did?
At
We
least
did.
Yes.
once.
Oh, God, I
Oh,
gotta rewatch it because I can't remember.
yes.
They don't. I mean, it's not prominent. They don't show it like it's not. It's like it's never like the focus of a shot. So it's just
Yes.
there for decoration.
Yeah.
So
So what? It's one of those Easter eggs you have to pause and rewind. It's like, is it
Yeah.
there? What's there?
It's not like
Blink, you might miss
Seinfeld where
it.
there was a
Blink, you miss
Superman
it
in every
kind of
episode,
thing.
I
Mhm.
mean, if you go, I mean, like they took that Kermit and they put it on the set. Like in that one episode where Gordon goes back in time, right? And he's got his family and they're watching a television show, right? That television show, like Tom and all them produced it. Like it's just a fake television show, but and they never show the shot. They never show the angle. But they're like a bookcase, and they took that Kermit, and they had it hanging over there.
One thing I
Oh,
enjoyed
I didn't
about
see that one. That's good.
It's one of I got it from one of Tom's pictures. Yeah.
Oh,
one of
okay.
the things I loved about the wedding between Claire and Isaac was they did their own vows. And Isaac, I think, really said he goes, I can't reciprocate, basically he's like, I can't reciprocate your love, saying I love you in the way you, a biological, would do it. But he's like, I'm going to do my damnedest. That's how I
Right.
took the interpretation.
Yeah.
Well,
I
it's
took it
like
that way
he
too.
can't express it, but it's there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know it's there because when the 5 minutes that he did have it, oh my God, did he express it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
when it was
beautiful.
there, it was there for Claire to see in all of its glory. And while it may not be what she might expect from a human, it is definitely without question there.
Right. Right.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
they even like like they made it or Tala was like, "Oh, Pro, like he doesn't have feelings," and she's like, "Well, I don't know about that. Like that I'm still kind of grappling with." I remember that's what he was
Exactly.
talking about. Yeah,
One of
but
the things is, being an IT guy, it's simple ones and zeros for him.
right, and that's
And
why he's
Yeah.
always talking about his calculations rather than how he feels.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's
well,
why
he
that's why
doesn't have
Claire is like,
feelings.
Yeah.
at first she's like, how would you feel about that? And then she stops and she says, "What do you think about this?"
Yes, exactly, because it's ones and zeros. But the thing with binary is, binary, when you deal with ones and zeros, it takes a lot of 1 zeros just to make a character available in text.
Yep.
I know this
Yes.
because I'm an IT guy.
Well, every
But
character's 8
I'm like,
bits.
yeah, it really fits for him. This kind of almost felt like a Data's Day with just being,
Especially how it
Data
started.
being the one,
Yeah.
basically being Data getting married.
Right. That's a
And
good point.
I'm only using that as a I'm only using that as a comparison as best.
I mean,
I
it's a good
think
point.
it's a bit more complex than that. I mean,
Yes,
there
it
comes
is.
a point where you get so many ones and so many zeros that you may actually just evolve to the where you become more than the sum of your programming. And I think that's what's happening with Isaac.
I think
And
that's what happened with
if
the
that
internet.
is the case, it's going to be a really interesting season 4. To follow where that goes.
What I
Maybe
like
we'll
was
get like a bicentennial man kind of thing where he finds a way to become human.
Potentially. I mean, they have quote unquote found a way, at least using the simulator, but there may be more coming later. They may put their like for example, like the Kalon High Command may decide to like actually start putting research into discovering how to express emotions and coming up with either a download or an emotion chip, kind of similar to how Data was in TNG.
Well, what I really enjoyed was just the way it was done, just like the rest of the season. He's saying, I can't express love like a biological. But in his own way, even Claire said it. He's like, he's going to look after my descendants. What's more love than that? Even if he goes and finds someone else, he's still going to look after them and he's always going to be there for them. What is more love than that?
I agree. I wanted to ask. There's two things I wanted to ask. Who noticed that when there was a point where Isaac actually put his hand on Ty's shoulder, as if like to say, "I claim him."
Yeah, I know.
I like that. I love that scene. I love that scene.
I saw where he was holding. I was like, "Oh my god, Isaac's holding the child."
Yeah, I love that. I love that. That was great. The second question I have is, I think I know the answer to this, to be honest, but like I prefer Isaac in his human form. Do you guys agree?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
yes and no.
Although Isaac in his human form reminds me more of Data. I don't know. It's a little bit both, I guess.
I feel like because it's like a love thing for Claire. Like he does it because he loves Claire. You know
exactly. I mean? Remember what I said earlier? He does that for her.
Yeah.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised.
There was that one episode where he like was with Charlie and all, but like he had already programmed that look, so I'm assuming that's why he chose that look.
I would not be surprised if, like, in season 4, they find a way to install like hollow emitters inside of their apartment, so when they go into their quarters, like he automatically transforms into.
That would be awesome.
Oh, like WandaVision kind of thing.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
That would be
I could see that possible. Absolutely. Look, he's
I mean,
willing.
didn't they do something like that on Voyager for the EMH?
They did.
Yeah.
They had
he had a hollow emitter attached to him.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but remember on the Prometheus and later on,
there is a device that'll do that.
Yeah,
they had hollow emitters around other areas.
Yeah, that was before.
That's what I was talking about.
Well, remember in DS9, the doctor came over and was trying to do an LMH, a long-term
Maybe
medical.
that's what I saw. Maybe I
Yeah.
did see an episode of DS9.
Yeah, DSI had the. Sorry. What was it? Voyager had the mobile emitter. That's-
Right.
Yes. Maybe I did see an episode or two
And
of
then-
DS9,
and then,
I
yeah, to
did see
Jesse's
that.
credit,
Maybe I'm getting them mixed up. Sorry.
To Jesse's credit, there was that episode where he was sent over to the Starship Prometheus and also to Jupiter Station to
Yes.
deal
Yes.
with, for what
It's
his name was.
Zimmerman, that was
It's
his
been,
name.
it's
Wasn't
been
it,
years
Amir?
at this
Zimmerman, yeah,
point.
that
It's been
was his
years.
Yeah,
Creator.
Zimmerman. Yeah,
I'm forgetful.
His father.
but just like in where Prometheus had holomitters in all the corridors and that, so the EMH would not be limited to sickbay, just like that. That's what Voyager upgraded to later on down the line, and they also had the mobile emitter.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that Voyager did that along down the line,
Yeah.
like in the later season, or the last
But this,
season or
I
something.
mean, having emitters in their quarters would be something like, okay, everyone else sees him as this, but to Claire he is this,
Right.
Yeah.
and
I agree.
that would just be awesome. I'm sorry.
I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. I don't know. There's someone's like wrestling with something there, but
John.
yeah. So there's one more thing is like once the wedding is done, and they they actually like trade rings and say I do and kiss. There's like the reception
Yes.
where the best man is supposed to.
The best man gives the best speech ever.
The best roast
He is not invited to
ever.
our wedding. He
The
is not.
best roast
Hold on, I would not do
ever.
that to
That
you.
was
first of all.
Boris.
That was the speech that you give when you never want to do another speech in your entire life ever again.
It's like
That was
killing your
so-
name and your reputation. Yes.
It was so awesome.
I'm like,
Oh
first,
no!
I
That's
like
really
this part.
disappointing.
I like when he tried to get everyone's attention. He's like, "May I have everyone's attention, please?"
You'll be quiet.
And then nobody,
That was
nobody,
just set up for you will be silent.
yeah. And then suddenly
They
he's
had
like,
to
"You will
put
be
that in there
silent."
somehow.
I'm glad they added that line, like, at the end.
Yes.
And then of course, like he does his little thing, and it's not working out. I love that it's actually Isaac himself who is like,
Yes.
Bortus, thank you for Commander Bortus, thank you for your speech.
Well, yeah, somebody had to say it.
Yeah, I would like to
Yes.
hear Lieutenant Lamar's has to say or something.
Lamoy,
Malloy, yeah, Gordon.
Malloy has to say.
Malloy, my darling Malloy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Malloy, and then he's like, "What? You want to hear what I?" He's all surprised and happy about it.
Because that was another
like that
arc
bit.
for the second half of the thing. Like, I can't believe he's not.
Gordon was a whole
gotta talk
heck
about-
of a lot better.
We got to talk about the scene that happened before. We got to talk about the sandwich scene. So, like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
The
I
scene
love
was
that when the
fantastic.
sandwich showed up.
they're
I love
they're
that. It's like,
engineering.
oh,
I
the
was
sandwich
wondering when that was
showed
gonna show
up.
They're in the engineering, and Lamar is talking to Ed about like whatever upgrades, and like Ed's just sitting there drinking a coffee or whatever.
Yep. And Malloy is pissed.
He's pissed
Yes.
about Bortus
Yes.
like take finagling his way into getting that, and he's talking about like, and Ed's like, "Are you more pissed about this than the Kalon
What happened with the
invasion?"
Kalon?
Like, I'm more pissed about this.
Yeah.
And then suddenly
then-
the sandwich shows up.
Man, never underestimate the
Yes.
power of an egg salad sandwich. Right?
Yeah.
The sandwich shows up,
Yes.
and then like,
He says,
That
I
just
knew
goes
I
to show
would,
you.
I would be happy when I saw this again.
and it instantly made him happy. Like he like lost his bad
Man.
mood.
A good egg salad sandwich will take all of your troubles away at least for 5 minutes.
Yes.
Right.
You know,
Just
I
remember,
like,
ladies.
uh,
Just
I
remember,
like
ladies.
how
The way to a man's heart is through his stomach.
Mhm.
I really
Agreed.
enjoyed how
We're a simple species. It doesn't take much to make us happy.
when Malloy goes out there and does his jokes, I thought it was great. But when Claire was like, "Will you do a song?" and that
Yeah.
was how the episode ended, and I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? if we don't get a season 4, which I think we're gonna get,
Oh,
I
definitely.
still
I
think
Well,
we'll
really
get.
believe
yeah.
we're gonna
they'd be
get.
they'd be
But
idiots not to.
if that's the end, it was a pretty goddamn good ending.
And I agree with you. Like if this is
Yes.
it, I'm glad
Then
they
it was great.
released it this way.
I'm
Yeah.
glad it went out. If it goes out, I'm glad it went out on this note.
Exactly.
But I
My mom
don't
said
want
was
it
the
to
perfect
go
way
out.
to end
Me
it.
neither. I don't want to go out at all. Like
It
I
was
want
definitely-
None of us want to go.
another.
Want it to
Please,
go
10,
out.
just 10 more episodes. 10 more hour-and-a-half long episodes, please.
And then blast for 10 more.
Like I'll wait as long as I did last time, as long as the
We
quality is
waited
like that.
3, Jack.
But it was
We
so worth
waited
it.
3
It was
years
so
for
worth
this.
it.
Yes.
I'll wait
Jack,
another 3
we
years.
waited 3 years for this amazing experience. If it takes another few years for them to make that same experience,
Me too.
you know
Yeah.
what? I'm. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like Scott here because I know how their British TV shows go, and they have very longer waiting periods between their TV shows. They get renewed and get done.
That and they
willing
have
to
no
wait
sense
a
of
couple
direction.
years. I'm willing to wait a couple of years for quality like this. This was
100%.
3
Yeah.
years of waiting, and it was fucking worth the wait.
Right.
So, John, not to be rude or anything, let us first discuss the British series format. I mean, I don't know what happened. I think there's like one of those Doctor Who spin-offs, and I can't remember the one off the top of my head. But it had
Yeah.
3 good seasons, and then the fourth one was like episode 1, then episode 16, then Pi, and then it was just awful. And then that was it, and that was the end of the entire series. Like, I don't understand. Like, where did this go? I can't make rhyme or reason for it. It's just like haggis.
Oh, haggis is pretty simple. You know, I can explain haggis.
Yes, haggis
What
is
is
incredibly simple.
haggis?
Sheep
Haggis is
stomachs
the-
and guts.
The intestines of the pig were put into a sheep's
Okay,
stomach.
No, just saying.
no.
You've got some
I don't wanna
herbs, you've got some
know.
spices, a lovely meat. It's cooked
Chloe-
and fried.
No,
Chloe,
seriously, when I say
together.
I don't wanna
Okay,
know,
John.
seriously, I don't wanna know.
I've got to ask.
Come on,
Okay,
delicious.
I've got a UK guy on here. I want to ask. Sorry to call you UK guy, but seriously, what the hell is a mead?
Oh, it's fermented honey.
Yeah,
Is that
it's
it?
Yeah.
basically.
Wait a minute. Haggis is ferment. Wait a minute. Mead is fermented honey.
Yeah. It's basically like the beer of honey.
How do you ferment honey?
You do the same way that you do with wheat, barley, and hops. You put some yeast in there, you let it eat some of it, converts it to sugar, and converts the sugar to alcohol. You know, get it to your certain consistency.
Gotcha. See,
I mean,
I gotta
it's
hear
not-
this in American terms. See, we're not as cultural as you guys are.
Oh, and over here we actually have a lot of honeybees. They're all over the place, and so I think for my brother's birthday a couple of years ago, I went and I bought him like almost a gallon of honey for him to transform into mead. And the thing is, like, basically, it's like 1 quart for every 3 quarts of water. And yeah, so it's on its way. It's good stuff.
Nice.
So,
whole
Chloe,
Nectar
you
of
don't
a-
have to worry
a
about
whole new
haggis
level.
because haggis is actually not legal in the United States.
Unless you get a vegetarian version, and you can get
The-
those at the Scottish type games.
No,
and
that is not haggis. That is evil.
It's like you take the meat out, and it's like, what's the point? What's the
Well,
point?
my favorite thing is going to the grocery store and just to give you an example of how delicious vegetarian haggis is, and going to the vegetarian aisle, and when we were having all of those shortages, how everything was gone from a lot of our shelves, but everything from the vegetarian section was there and perfect stocking glory. And if it wasn't
Okay,
stocked,
okay,
those
okay,
things needed to
okay.
be stocked,
Ah,
nothing would be stocked at all.
As a meat eater herself, what's wrong with vegetarian food? I tried
Some
a
of it's good, some
vegetarian
is
It's
meal
not
not.
so good.
myself
I'll
for
say
the
that.
first
I will
time,
say
If
and it's
that.
not that
There's
bad.
if you want
absolutely
vegetarian
nothing wrong
foods,
with
go eat
vegetarian
salads.
food
If you want
unless
a
you
burger, eat
ask
a bloody
me to
burger.
eat it.
None
I
Let
didn't
me
hear
tell you
what
what
anybody
tofu.
said because
vegetarian food.
multiple people were talking.
I was saying there is nothing wrong with vegetarian food unless you ask me to eat it, and then we have problems.
Why
Uh,
don't you eat it then?
I don't.
because it tastes like crap.
Not all of it does, honestly. Some of
Not
it
all
does.
of it. I mean,
Actually, not
Yeah.
all of
they
it,
have
to be
made a
honest.
great deal of progress with tofu and how they flavor it and that sort of thing. But
I'm gonna say this. I've had vegan bacon, hamburger, and every other thing, and they try to say it tastes just as good.
look, I can't even eat turkey bacon, and that's meat from another animal.
Look, I'm a carnivore. I love bacon, and I've tried First off, I don't like turkey bacon.
I've
I've
tried. Yeah, I
tried
tried
the
it.
vegan bacon. I've tried the vegan meat. I've tried the chicken. I've tried the meat. I gave it a shot. You know what? I fucking hate it. It does not taste
Um,
like the real thing.
look,
It's just the way it is.
vegan meat,
It's
military intelligence, same oxymoron.
it's like the Matrix version of chicken. What does a chicken really taste like? Is it what we're getting?
Ugh.
Chicken tastes like chicken.
Chicken tastes like everything, and everything tastes like chicken.
There you go,
Flesh.
Mir. You nailed it there, buddy.
I'm saying, if you've ever had an Eastern Diamondback Rattler for dinner, I'll tell you right now, it tastes like chicken, and it's
One of
delicious.
one of the beautiful things about this episode was, like I said before we get off topic, was the vows. The
Yeah.
way Claire expressed her vows and the way Isaac expressed them was very well done. And I like the title of the episode, Future Unknown. It almost kind of went with, the season. We
I
don't
feel
know if it's
Yes.
going to be renewed. And
yeah, that's why I think that's why they actually named it that.
Yes.
Seth did something smart. Unlike a lot of these fucking shows that, like I said earlier, that leave a cliffhanger hoping they come up. No. See, I've hated that my entire life because I
Mhm.
Yeah.
grew up in the old school.
Here,
I
here.
want a beginning, middle, and end.
Mhm.
And if you're going to have a season, end the season and end it on a satisfactory. Don't leave us with a cliffhanger. And look at what Stranger Worlds did. It had it ripped off an episode, and then it ripped off an episode from TOS. Then it left you with a cliffhanger. And it's like, why would I want to come back? Look,
Yeah.
cliffhangers
Well,
need to have a reason. Best of both worlds had a reason for it, but they were rare.
okay.
Mhm.
When cliffhangers were rare, when cliffhangers were rare, they had impact. Now they're just expected to
Mm,
hope
Well,
the show will get renewed. And
Yep.
it's like, what was the point of me watching the whole season when you leave it on a cliffhanger?
I
there's
agree.
Give us,
yeah. I'm sorry.
give us. I'm sorry, I'm gonna
It's okay.
shut up after this.
Sorry.
Give us some fucking closure for that season and leave it alone. Work on the next season the next year, if you get it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna leave it at that.
There's an unsaid rule in the TV industry, and it goes as follows: you never do a cliffhanger in the first season.
Right.
And the reason why you don't is because if nobody is watching your show, no one is going to give a shit about a cliffhanger.
hmm
And now, as far as the Strange New Worlds episode, that last one, I liked it until that last 60 seconds when they announced, when they did the whole arresting of.
Number one.
Yeah, thanks. Because I don't give a crap about her name. And
Now, I'm going to say this about that. I actually thought the actor that got to play Kirk was decent.
he was good.
Oh yeah.
And not only that, but he actually went and sought out William Shatner's blessing before.
Okay, well, we won't have this new trick.
Exactly. We don't want
in our
that here.
channel.
Well, no, I mean, but
Yeah.
going back to the Orville, where a lot of shows would go and end things on a cliffhanger in the fourth season, just like Next Generation did, just like, Voyager. Actually, not so much Voyager, but also, DS9 and those sort of things. Future unknown. They have no idea if there's going to be a fifth season, and so that's why they made the decision that instead of going with a cliffhanger, they decided to, hey, here's closure for everything.
I'm glad they chose that.
And I am so glad, because how many times have we all been binging shows on Netflix, and you get into this show, and then all of a sudden you get to season 2, and it ends on the cliffhanger, and there wasn't a season freaking 3.
Exactly.
Yeah, me. And it's not even season 3. It's multiple seasons. Hence
Actually,
to a certain
Mary
network
brought
that
up
I
a-
will not name.
Oh, sorry, Chloe.
Now I do have a
What I was gonna say. What I was saying, Mir, is honestly, I look up a show to see if it ended on a cliffhanger.
Oh, I do the same thing.
before it-
my dad does the same
because
thing.
I'm like, I'm not looking for the ending. I'm just looking to see. Oh, it got canceled. Got
Yeah.
ended on a cliffhanger.
But also
and
remember,
I'm like, why
how
would
many
I
of
watch
us are
this
doing that
show?
now because we have been hurt in the past? I mean, I'm calling this stuff like relationships. I mean, seriously, if you were burned in the past from a relationship, how likely are you still? You're gonna sit there and ask your other thing. Well, how did your last relationship end? Because I don't want to be burned in a similar fashion. Like my wife, for
That's
example.
fair.
I interviewed this woman for almost a solid week before I would even go out on a date with her.
Really?
It was, I swear to God, it was the Spanish Inquisition, and she's religious, so she knows all about that shit.
Right.
But then,
Excuse me, it's not shit.
but then I agreed to go and meet her, and the instant I met her, I knew that she was the one I was going to spend the rest of my life with. And we've been together for 15 years. Actually, been together for 17 years, and married for almost 15.
Oh shit, Mir.
Sir.
When my wife and I got together,
So we might
I
want to.
had been.
Yeah, we'll get there.
6 months. No, when I met my wife Rachel, and I was 6 months into a year of my divorce, and we went out on our first date, and I told her everything, just like I did every other woman. And I even had a woman who lived with me for a few months. But when I met Rachel, and I told her everything, and then she told me what happened to her, I was like, this is the woman I'm going to marry. And guess what happened 3 months later? What I asked.
Oops.
Speaking of relationships, back on the Orville when
Let's go
Lamar
back to
was
the Orville.
giving-
So Jack was trying to show us something work you
Oh,
did.
yeah, I've been trying to show you something for like the last 10 minutes.
when Lamar was giving
my
Isaac
question is
yes!
this.
correct
Hey, everybody,
advice.
shut up. My question is this.
We're going to turn Jack into Bortus. You be quiet!
which Isaac do you prefer? Do you prefer this one? Remember with the ratty ass underwear?
Uh-huh.
Don't forget the tassels.
With the well, no.
Oh no, what you had
No,
to
the tassels.
A,
That's B.
B,
I mean, that's him with the mustache and the hat and saying this
Right.
town cannot accommodate blah blah blah.
the multiple masses, yes.
Or this one actually, it wasn't going to be the Talus one. That was just
I think I'll say the tie because I like
I
that
like
one.
tie, yeah.
I like
I was just gonna
The tie
say the
sells
tie
it.
as well. He was classy there.
I mean, that's
But
his
that poor
bachelor
Broadway
party.
head guy behind him looks so bored to tears.
I know. I mean, like Isaac is fully paying attention because he can't be bored. But
I know, but everybody else is in there. Even the person that's on the opposite side.
yeah, this person over here, if you can see him right here, he's got like
At this point, she's gonna hand like,
But you have to
You know,
admit that's a lot of
one of
pustules.
the interesting things is about that is, yeah, he can't be bored, but I don't think he understands the concept of boredom yet. He understands. I think he is learning the concept of love,
Mhm.
but boredom. Yeah, exactly. They were bitching, complaining, but he has no concept. But like I said earlier today on another stream when I was
That'll be an
just-
interesting episode. They get bored of the relationship. The sex goes dry. You have to spice things up.
well, I mean, like that would be a Claire problem, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, because Isaac would just continue to do. He doesn't care. He's like, he's
Yeah.
gonna keep doing.
No,
whatever
he doesn't care. He just is.
No, I mean he cares. I'm saying like
in his own
Like, he
way,
does-
in
he
his
d-
own state.
he-
It's the
what I'm
same,
saying is he
the
doesn't-
same routine every night.
what I'm saying is he doesn't
Very
care what
binary.
it takes. He's going to like make that work. That's what I
Yes.
meant. But
Remind me of
yeah, he'll-
somebody I know.
shh. Anyway, so but
Yeah,
I mean,
you're
that,
right.
would- that would make for a good episode. Imagine how he does all these studies about sexual relations and he takes it all too far and ends up like a big porno shoot. And he's like, whoa, this is too far. He's in spandex with whip and chains. He's like, this is not what I had in mind. This is a bit
And
too
it's
much
different.
for me.
Look,
it's
there
not,
better
it's,
be.
it's
all I
not the
can-
Talon version. It's Mark Jackson.
Like, I appreciate the effort and you want to, but it's just not for me.
Look,
That's not
yeah,
my
I
kind of
agree.
kink.
I don't want to see Mark Jackson in Spank. To be honest,
All I can tell you is that there better be a damn good lock on that door. You're talking spandex and latex and all that. There's 2 kids in those quarters.
Oh, they're gonna have to soundproof that. Oh yeah.
But yes.
Okay, Alicia, it's a little scary that you're laughing at that.
Why?
Not as wholesome as you think. Anyway,
Oh, go there, Pierce.
so like I believe that Isaac truly does love Claire. Actually,
Yes.
does understand what love is. Not
In
necessarily
his own way.
in his own way, because he does say in A Happy Refrain when he makes that one mistake, and then Ed like comes to him and is like, "Hey, what happened?" He's like, "I think my my Dr. Claire's absence has affected me,"
I think
and then
I-
like like
he understands the concept and the importance of it, and it's kind of like what we were talking about early on. How that you can have all these bad moments, and that's why it's important to get married and that while you're young. Enjoy it. Make every moment count. Because if there's one thing that can outlast everything, it's love. So.
I
I
mean, like
think-
as Gordon said, like that family that he had, it outlasts time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the
They'll
love.
last long in his
Um,
heart. You know.
was
I do hope maybe Lascelles and Gordon get together so that like Gordon gets over his Laura
Or
thing.
maybe he goes, or she goes with Lamar. That way he can.
You can go with Lamar too. Like either way, I don't care. Like, but I feel like
Well,
Lamar
Ma-
and
Maybe she'll find.
Talia was hilarious.
Well,
Yeah.
I do
but
feel like
Lamar
is
seems to be
not.
a bit
I do feel like that.
traumatized about her stay at
I do feel like they'll try again,
Yeah.
but
Maybe
like
maybe he'll
they'll
find
find a
like
more
an
creative way
ancestor
to
that
have
looks the
safer
spitting
sex.
image.
Yeah,
But I really think that the love that Isaac is capable of experiencing is almost like the kind of love that you get from like a puppy to a human. You know, it is the most
okay,
innocent.
yes,
It's the most
Okay.
innocent form of love.
I
There
agree.
is that. There is that loyalty. There
Right.
is, you know, where if you're not, if the dog does not experience a love that doesn't see their their owner or whatever for a while,
Reciprocating that love.
that person is genuinely missed by the animal. But however, true deep emotional, like, soulmate love is something that he's not capable of experiencing at the moment. However, this is an android or whatever you want to call it, who is willing to take his entire existence and change it, and even or to find a way to experience that love with Claire. And I think that's something that is really powerful. And I'm so
Yeah,
glad that it was an overarching story from the beginning of this season all the way till the end.
Yeah,
I'm so glad that we got to see these little parts of Isaac's journey and having that experience of being able to truly feel emotional love for Claire. I think even as a like someone that gets that experience for even just a couple of moments, that was enough for Isaac to say, "Okay, I want to be with this person. I
yeah,
want to." I got to experience that for just a moment, and for him, that's enough, and that's amazing. I
right.
mean, to me, that's amazing. And Claire knows that he feels that way,
Yes,
and and to her, that's enough. And so it's
you know,
just so cool to see that come, to the ahead at the end of the season.
and it's really cool that they actually like they planted the whole Claire Isaac thing in the very first season,
Hmm.
Yes.
right? They didn't sprout it until the second one with a happy refrain, and then I feel like it came to maturity this final episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's one of the overall like arcs that I totally enjoyed about the Orville these last three seasons, and I hope when if there's a fourth season that they continue with. The other one I really enjoyed was the Topa Bordis Clyden
yes,
arc.
yeah.
Right.
yeah. So it was like what, the second episode when he decided to lay the egg.
Third. Oh
Third.
no, yeah, there was a
Oh,
second one when the
first
lady.
episode. First
Second
season,
episode
sorry.
when they laid the egg,
Yeah.
or when they laid the egg, and then they hatched it in the third.
Like, to me, that one was really fascinating because, again, there are obvious parallels into our society.
Mhm.
And it's very interesting to see how they conform to society's rules, and they did the change, but then once you get into this season, you realize there's something there that, despite the surgery, it lived on.
Yep.
And it said, "Look, I don't, you did transformed." Then it's like, I don't feel right.
Right.
Something's wrong, and I don't know what it is, and I can't explain it. And then once it was explained, and then they went through that change, and then there was an episode on top of that where Clyden was pissed that whole thing went down, and
Right.
because Clyden wasn't getting his way, but then
He left. Yeah.
and then on the last the last where it wrapped up the arc, Clyden finally realizes, like, hey, it doesn't matter what you are, it's who you are. And oh my god, like, you're my
I
child and I miss you.
I love that
That
turnaround.
was
I
It
love that
was
going around
it was so powerful on
because
so many levels.
I remember, like, in that episode, like the last thing he says to Topo before he leaves was, "I wish you were never born."
Yes.
And I was just like disgusted with that. I was just like, like, if that's how Clyde's gonna be, like, good riddance, right?
But again, there's
But
that
then,
parallel to the outside. Like
right,
for example, my
Okay,
father.
I'm sorry, Mir and Jack. I need to say this. That whole thing with Clyde doing that kind of thing, where he said he wished he was never born. The simple fact is, when you're angry and somebody goes against your values, even as your child, it's hard to reconcile. I had my child make a statement that really, she spent almost a year with my ex-wife, because I sent her there, and that was supposed to be a visit, and I was determined never to bring her back. And if you have any idea how much I regretted that choice, that I did that to her. And
right,
I thought I did it for the right reasons.
and
But
so did Clyden. Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought I made that choice for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And I was wrong. And I have told my daughter many times I was wrong. And you don't know how many times I tell her I was wrong. I regret that decision that I sent her away. And
and I
I can
Uh,
never take that back. I
No,
can't.
all you can do is atone for it.
yes, and I think that's
Exactly.
what Clyden's trying to do. Um,
Exactly.
yeah,
Which is
Exactly.
another reason when Bortus is given the speech, how he's just like, "Oh, congratulations," clapping and going
true.
crazy,
Yeah, no, but you're right. You're
just
totally
laughing his
right.
ass off. I
Yeah,
just like as another great example. Like my father, he came out of the closet for us like again in 1997 or so, and he left my mom, and at first he didn't explain why, and and just he left us all, and we had no idea why this happened, and it was until my I actually had to come up to him and say, "Hey, like, what is going on here? Why are you not, not responding to us? Like, is there something we did?" And then he told us, he explained, like, "Oh, it's like I need to tell you something." I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "What?" I was like, "I'm gay." I'm like, I know that. My brother and I figured it out like 5 years before. You know, and it's like, and he couldn't believe that we were so accepting of him. And I told him, I'm like, look, I have no problem if you're gay. It doesn't matter to me. Don't grab my ass. We're good. And we were good until he died. so, so, the end. But yes,
Well, I have an issue here. My father and I, Mir, my father and I have our own issues, and unfortunately, I'm his emergency contact. And literally, I had a call today about his disability benefits from Social Security, and they're asking me to contact him. Well, he never answers his goddamn phone, or he hasn't got a new one since he got beat up and they stole his phone. And I was literally telling my wife, I'm like, I'm gonna call my dad when my dad finally calls me. I'm like, I'm setting you up a Facebook page because I can't get a hold of him.
yeah, dude, it's gonna happen. Some people don't put a priority to that, and there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to roll with the punches. I'm afraid.
Well, I'm too old to not care about my father. I
I
I
understand.
just can't have that. I can't have that. As much as my father's been a pain in my ass as many times as he's burned my bridges, I just cannot hate him. I've
And no,
hated him at times
right?
and in moments, but to hate him personally, I can't do it. Yeah, I'm not capable
Uh,
of it.
do you think that now that I'm sorry, going back to the Orville, just want to keep it in that orbit. Do you think that Clyden
Please.
now hates himself because of what he did? And now he's trying as
Mm,
hard as possible to atone for what he's done.
you know,
I
that
think
is,
so.
Yeah.
yeah,
I think he's
I
trying
think that's
to.
what Klein's do. I think Kleinen is trying to um, make up for it and doing what we do when we make up. Whether you're a man or a woman, and the simple fact is, when you fuck up, you try to show the person how sorry you are. And
I
that's what
think
I see Clyden doing.
I think that's what I think that's why I say it. And I also see that like when they were doing the chase in the beginning, Clyden was actually legitimately trying to get away from it. Like he wasn't trying to like give Bortus an edge. You know, he threw a fucking like big ass fucking
Yeah,
boulder.
bold.
Oh
Yeah.
I
yeah.
was like, oh shit.
Like, easy there. You trying to kill him? Like,
I was like, okay, like no, I believe it. He's
Like,
trying to
I
get
know
away
you're
from
trying to make it hard for him, but come on, dude.
I mean, I don't know
No,
if
he
anyone's
wanted.
noticed, but like especially in this episode, you're seeing Clyden laugh a little too, now that they've renewed their vows,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
quite possibly the most awkward thing I've ever seen since the since
You know,
the
that's
best
the
man speech
Lachlan
later
way.
on in that episode. I
Yes.
I'm noticing, like, I don't know if Bortus is genuinely considered funny on Mockless, or if Clyden
Oh,
is laughing a
no.
little too hard at Bortus's jokes, or
It could
cheering
be.
Bortus on a little too much.
It could be that too. It could be that too. Yeah.
Let's
Honestly,
be honest. Let's be honest. When we screw up as the spouse, we work extra hard to make up for it.
And that's what I think he's doing.
And
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this: my wife and I, we've had a few rough patches, and recently we had a really, really bad fight. And I've done everything I can to make up for my fuck up
Mm-hmm.
because it was my mistake. At least I think it was. I don't know if it was hers. I'm not sure. I don't care. All I know is
All you know is that you recognize your part
Yes.
where you
Right.
fucked up, and so you want to apologize for that. I
You
understand.
can you can only focus on one person. Yes, you.
Yeah, you can only focus on what you on. Yeah, sometimes yeah, like you can't. Yeah, like I think John Stewart said it best. Like you can't. I know you. John Stewart's a liberal, whatever. I'm just saying, like you can't.
that's irrelevant.
You can't. God, I'm not going to give it any justice.
Basically, you can like change one person.
Well, the way I was thinking about it when I saw Bortus and Clint, and it's funny because I don't care about gay marriage. That doesn't bother me, but you guys know me. I'm a conservative, but I don't care what you do. But when what I said to my wife that night, I was like, I think I just ended my marriage. I thought maybe that was possible, and then I was trying to do everything I could to reconcile it because, unlike my last marriage, I can't imagine my life without my wife. I
Right,
cannot.
right.
It's as simple as that.
Right.
Well, I mean, I hope
And
that
I
is the
expect
case.
you and I expect Jack and Alicia to do the same.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna eventually fight one day, and then like the
Yes.
next day,
Oh,
we're
it's
just gonna,
guaranteed.
and then the next day we're just gonna be
that's
like, "I
normal.
love you." Yeah.
True.
It's gonna be. I've been married. I've kind of done that before, so I kind of feel like I'm in better grounds
Yeah, we work out
today
a lot of kinks, so to speak.
than I'm much more mature, and I think I can handle it this time without
Yes.
without making the mistakes I made
Okay,
before.
gentlemen, I am going to give you the secret. And to that, it requires a name change of simply epic proportions. So here is how you avoid being in trouble a lot. Okay. Or a lot more often than normal. When you go out and you tell your significant other, "Hey, I love you. I just want you to know I'm always thinking about you." When I go out, and it doesn't matter, without fail, I will always go and buy just a little something. And it doesn't matter what it is. Like if I'm out and I'm passing by like a Starbucks or something, I'll pick up a coffee and a Danish for my wife. If I'm stopping at Walmart or something, you know how they have those what was it? My wife loves the Pioneer Woman, so I'll buy her a little couple items from there. I don't care what it is. So what
Right.
I'm doing is I am showering her with love and affection on a daily basis, which is essentially called front loading. So that way, when I get in the deepest of shits, because I know that's exactly what I'm going to do at some point or another, I have given her so much love in advance that the impact is going to be substantially less than if I had not done so.
Hold on, let me write this down.
I'll remind him. I'll remind him.
Hey guys, I
that
do
called
have a quick
bribery?
question. Alicia, Jack, I do have a question. How much longer are you planning on going? Because
Okay, I'll
We're
done.
getting
Thank
ready to
you.
wrap up. We're getting ready to
Well,
wrap
yeah,
up. Now.
I'm actually pretty much.
yeah, I'm just
yeah.
saying. My
Yeah, we're
dogs are
wrapping up
getting
now,
ready
but
to want to
yeah.
go out, and
If you
I'm
need to
getting
take
tired.
off, yeah, if you need to take off, it's fine. We're done with our review. Like I think we've gone through the entire.
Yes,
episode.
exactly. But yeah, we're looking forward to
So,
doing the novella next. We don't know when we'll do that.
what do you guys think about this season finale? How would you, Alicia, everybody? How would you rate this season finale?
This is.
And
I
I'm
think I said
saying
it before.
season because I don't want it to be the series finale.
I agree.
Yeah, don't
I've said
say
it
it. You'll
before.
jinx it.
I've said it before. I think it's the best season of sci-fi I've seen in decades.
Oh, absolutely. As
Yeah.
far as this episode is concerned, it brought back the lightheartedness that has not necessarily been in this in on the Orville this particular series.
Very.
But you know, but even then before in like season 1 and 2 where there was just basically a very childish childish humor to
Right.
the first 2 seasons. This season was a lot more serious, but when we got to this episode in particular, they showed they could really bring the laughs in a lighthearted nature that was really,
Right.
laughable or to everyone. There was
Mhm.
humor for everybody on every level. And
Yes.
for that, I mean, as far as the season finale is concerned, I give this one a solid 9 to 9.5. I thought it was out of 10. I thought it
That's
was
very good. Yeah.
great.
Yeah, it's very good.
And again, God forbid if this is the end of this series or end of this show, you know what? It goes out on a fantastic love note.
Hashtag renew the
It
Orville.
was great.
Yes.
I am looking forward to the Orville season 4. I want it to come out.
Same.
I may, I'm sorry. I may go out do a Wayne Brady, and I might have to choke a bitch if this isn't happening. But and this is actually no actual claiming of violence, but it just
Of
shows
course
the
not.
lengths of which I might go in order to make these things happen. But yeah, this was such a step up in production value. It was a maturing of the series and its character and all of its characters, while still showing that they could be lighthearted and it can be funny and it can be sci-fi as hell and it can just be one fantastic episode that isn't afraid to tackle really, really difficult subjects.
I love how poetically you put that.
That was off the top of my head,
No,
man.
I'm serious.
Well,
Like,
that was well
wonderful.
done, Mir. That was very
I'm
well
gonna
done.
I'm gonna
Yes.
say that I'm gonna say this right here. Mir was one of my original co-hosts.
This is true.
I can't top what he said.
You were, by the way, you were a good co-host, Mir. I remember.
Yeah,
those
he
days.
was a great. Yes, he was a great co-host. My channel, he's a great co-host there. I can't top what he said, so I'm just gonna say, I'm just gonna point that way.
Did you just shoot John?
Mir,
What the hell?
You pretty much, Mir.
I'm pointing
You
to
pretty
you.
much
Can't
nailed
see
the
it.
head.
You know, thank you. For my next trick. No, I'm just kidding. Look, love is in the air.
I love that. Like, I know exactly what it is. It's beautiful. Like, oh my god, you can tell she's so in love.
You can tell he was in love up until.
And he was too. He was too at one point.
But yes.
How do you know it's a she? How dare you assume her gender?
I know that. You know what? Shame on me for assuming.
Well, actually, John, you can tell by the hip structure.
Well, that's what I assume by the hip structure. But
Are you saying that guys can't have hips that don't lie?
No, I'm assuming
I don't know
that
if you've
anatomically
seen, but
speaking.
I've got bigger tits than my sister. You know.
oh man, we're gonna have to compare.
Look,
tits
John,
today.
me too. I don't even have a sister.
Oh God! So yeah, well, let's hope we get a season
You have
4.
to realize, like, John, I took 2 years of anatomy.
Wait a minute, you studied science? Are you sure?
No, I
there
was
really
actually
science
studying to
or-
be. I was getting.
For all that poor guy knows, that's not a tail. That's you know.
Nope, that's a tail.
Yes, we definitely need a season 4.
I
Yes,
I
we do.
definitely think so. You know,
All
'cause
right,
if this is.
can we get a 1, 2, 3 renew the Orville?
Yeah,
I
sure.
think I need to say it again. Yes, renew the.
Renew the Orville!